Formula One is back, and it's not just any weekend, it's the Dutch Grand Prix, a race that always brings its own kind of drama. Between the unpredictable North Sea weather, new FIA rule tweaks that could change pit strategy, and the growing tension at the sharp end of the championship fight, Zandvoort has all the ingredients for chaos. But here's the real question. Will the wet and windy conditions turn this into a survival race? Or will strategy and upgrades decide who walks away on top? Either way, fans are in for a roller coaster. The F1 circus has rolled back into action, and the Dutch GP promises more than a few storylines worth following. From rain clouds that could completely reshuffle the order to FIA interventions designed to push teams into two-stop strategies, Zandvoort feels primed for an unpredictable weekend. The real curiosity, though, lies in what this circuit has in store for us, and how the two championship frontrunners will stack up, especially after Lando Norris's bold claims. After a long 3-week break, racing finally resumes at Zandvoort, and the very first variable we need to consider is the weather. Rain is forecasted around an 80% chance across all 3 days, which means wet running is almost guaranteed. Add in fluctuating temperatures and gusty winds reaching 30 to 40 kilometers per hour on Saturday, and you've got a recipe for challenging conditions that test every driver to the limit. This is the kind of scenario that often produces thrilling racing, provided of course that the FIA allows it to happen. After the embarrassment of Spa, fans are hoping not to see another weekend ruined by hesitation and overcaution. The difference here is that in Spa, the expectation was that rain would clear. At Zandvoort, however, persistent wet weather looks more or less certain. That puts the FIA under pressure to find the balance between safety and racing, especially since rain combined with high winds can lead to near zero visibility. Delays are possible and perhaps even likely, but how the governing body manages this situation will be under the microscope from fans and drivers alike. Beyond the weather, another key talking point is strategy. Zandvoort is notoriously hard on tyres thanks to its twisting, corner-heavy layout. Traditionally, teams lean on the safer one-stop approach, especially when track temperatures are cooler. To try to spice things up, the FIA and Pirelli have introduced a change this year. The pit lane speed limit has been increased from 60 to 80 kilometers per hour, shaving precious seconds off pit stop times and potentially making two-stoppers more viable. In a statement on the adjustment, Pirelli highlighted that simulations still suggest the one-stop remains faster, largely because Zandvoort makes overtaking so difficult. With narrow track widths and only one meaningful straight, opportunities to pass are scarce, which always tilts the balance toward fewer stops. Sadly, Zandvoort's time in F1 may be running out. The circuit's contract ends in 2026, with financial issues and the ever-growing size of F1 cars making it tougher to host the race. While traditional tracks are disappearing, the venue might still find life through other series. IndyCar and NASCAR have both been linked with possible interest in using the track for European events. But for now, the Dutch fans have plenty to cheer about, especially with their homegrown hero. Max Verstappen has claimed victory here 3 times out of 4 since the circuit's return in 2021. Yet this year, the outlook for Red Bull isn't nearly as bright. McLaren has surged ahead, and the updates to the RB21 simply aren't delivering. That raises serious concerns about the team's second seat, since consistent points from both drivers are needed to keep Red Bull from slipping down the order. At the moment, Verstappen alone isn't enough to hold on to a top 3 position in the standings. And if this trend continues into 2026, questions about his long-term future with the Austrian team will only intensify. Meanwhile, Lando Norris enters this race with sky-high confidence. Having won 3 of the last 4 races, he's enjoying the best run of his career so far, and the momentum feels firmly in his corner. The tricky weather at Zandvoort could complicate his charge, but that applies equally to everyone else. As the saying goes, smooth seas never made skilled sailors. And this weekend, the storm may reveal who's truly capable of steering through it. So now the spotlight falls on Lando Norris. Does he really have the mindset of a world champion? It's one thing to fight rivals from other teams, but when the biggest competition comes from across the same garage, the pressure is doubled. Both McLaren drivers sit in equal machinery, and yet Norris believes he has what it takes to carry the momentum he's been building ever since that costly mistake back in Canada. Explaining how he feels about this battle, Norris put it this way: Nothing about my life feels any different. It's just about how prepared you are for this fight, for this challenge. From a racing perspective, I've picked up so many lessons. Now, I feel like the most complete version of myself as a driver. It doesn't mean things suddenly get easier. You're still going wheel to wheel with the very best in the world, but you're more ready for whatever comes at you, and that's when you can really unlock your potential. So while the title fight has essentially become a two-horse race, it doesn't mean the rest of the grid won't make their presence felt. McLaren boss Andrea Stella is thrilled to have both his drivers right at the sharp end of the championship battle, but he isn't blind to the looming danger of Ferrari in the second half of the season. From Zandvoort onwards, he believes the Scuderia could pose a real threat. Skepticism will always exist when it comes to Ferrari's consistency. But let's not forget, Charles Leclerc grabbed pole position in Hungary, and if not for car troubles, he might have converted that into a podium, or even challenged for the win. That's exactly why Stella predicts a revitalized Ferrari in the coming races. As he explained, Ferrari's Hungary pole didn't surprise me. They've been strong recently, in the dry at Silverstone and again in Belgium. I expect them to be fighting for wins in the second half of the season. Every time we head into qualifying or a race, we'll have to factor Ferrari into the equation. But the Ferrari threat isn't the only subplot hanging over this weekend. The saga of Red Bull's second seat continues, with Yuki Tsunoda under growing pressure. He knows the competition is breathing down his neck. Youngsters like Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, and even IndyCar's Alex Palou are waiting for their shot. Many believe his days in the seat are numbered, possibly ending after 2025. However, Red Bull's new team boss Laurent Mekies has tried to calm the noise. For now, the focus is squarely on helping Yuki rediscover his performance. In Mekies' words, the priority is to give Yuki everything he needs to get back to his best. That's what we are concentrating on. We've been working race after race to find that extra step. Spa was encouraging, though Hungary was a bit more complicated. But there's no reason why Yuki can't hit the levels we've seen from him in the past. That's where our attention is right now. And with all these threads, Norris chasing the aura of a champion, Ferrari sharpening its claws, and Red Bull wrestling with lineup uncertainties, this Dutch GP has all the makings of a thriller. The only hope is that the rain won't flood the spectacle entirely. The likelihood of full wet tyres, the blue striped ones being used, remains slim, but the weather will almost certainly play a part. Zandvoort rarely lets fans down. With everything on the line, we turn to you. Who do you believe will emerge from the Netherlands as the championship leader? Drop your predictions in the comments below.